Welcome to the Cruise Retreat podcast. My name is Rita M. Perez, and I'm a triple certified travel advisor. But more importantly, I coordinate all the logistics to bring your online community offline through world travel. If you've been yearning to put together a group trip, but overwhelmed with all the details that come with planning, I and this podcast are here to help. Ready to transform lives on the open waters of the world? Let's get started. Everyone, backstory. Earlier today, I attended an event. It was my first in-person supplier sponsored event since 2020. I've gone to different industry events, but not supplier specific, where they were hosting something. This used to happen all the time, where we usually got wined and dined, or we get luncheons, like today was a luncheon. And the purpose of that is to connect with our reps at these companies, because those connections are really what help us to get the best access to the best types of things for our clients. And especially Ruben, if you're still watching, is one of my clients, and he had an issue on one of his last sailings. And because I know somebody with the cruise line, he was able to address it with me. I was able to address it with her. The ship was able to correct it on the ship instead of him waiting to get home and just being upset and kind of not happy the whole time. So those are the kinds of differences when you're working with a travel advisor that you get versus just doing this on your own and going on it on your own. So yay for that. But we get to meet our reps in person, create that relationship. If we have any questions, ask them. Today has been a busy day, so I didn't get to ask too many questions today, but they downloaded so much information. This is also a really great opportunity to meet with other advisors that are in the area, even though it was just a whirlwind of an hour and a half of getting lunch, getting all this information. So the first kind of Royal Caribbean update that I wanted to provide, and if you didn't know, Royal Caribbean International is a company of cruise lines, where Royal Caribbean Cruise Line is a division of that brand, and they are more what I would say on the contemporary / mass market / budget friendly type of cruise line. And when I think of them, because each of their brands, so there's Royal Caribbean, there's Celebrity, and then there's Silversea. There are different feels because there's different tiers. So I will be trying out Celebrity actually very, very soon. And that is their premium / beginner luxury type product. And then Silversea is their luxury product. And each of those brands has a different feel, because when you're thinking about something like a Royal Caribbean, thinking lots of fun, lots of fun in general, there is going to be a lot of stuff for you to do. And where you go up in the different classes is pretty much more relaxation, but more immersion and it's very much more experiential, if that makes sense. With Royal Caribbean, I always think there's just so much to do on board, especially when we're thinking about their Oasis class and their Quantum class ships, where, the Quantum class has this big arm. It's called the North Star. And I didn't know about this, so here's a fun fact to share with you. If you sail on a Quantum class ship from New York, the North Star will get you to eye level of Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty from New York. And I was like, oh, I want to try that out. I've never sailed from New York yet, so knock on wood, that's something that I do. But so that was a really fun fact. The Quantum class, so each cruise line has different classes of ships. So the newer ones on Royal Caribbean are these massive large ships called the Oasis class ships and the Quantum class of ships. So each cruise line will have certain things that make them them. So Royal Caribbean has a specialty dining restaurant option called Chops Grill. Chops Grill you will find on every single Royal Caribbean ship. But there's certain things within the classes that give them the distinction of the different classes. So the North Star is only available on Quantum class ships. just like on the Oasis class ships, you're going to find the different neighborhoods like Boardwalk, Central Park. That is what is synonymous with an Oasis class ship. So when I think of 7 neighborhoods, it's also like 7 different feelings around the ship. And the 2 biggest ones being Boardwalk and Central Park, where Boardwalk is about a lot of fun. There's a carousel on board the ship. Whereas when you're going to Central Park, it is much more relaxed, laid back. There's actual plants in the Central Park area. There's a little cafe, whereas on the Boardwalk, you can go to a Johnny Rockets. There are a lot of like upscale shops and dining options in Central Park versus in the Boardwalk. I mean, there's dining options, but what I love about the Boardwalk is that you have the Aqua Class Theater that has spectacular shows. And that is one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because the newest ship that just came out is called the Wonder of the Seas. I actually had some travel advisor friends sailing on her. They went on the transatlantic from Fort Lauderdale and brought her all the way to Europe. So she will be sailing, on the Mediterranean for this summer. And in that Aqua Class, so that the name of the show, and these are all like original shows that Royal Caribbean produces on their ships, is called Intense. And it's kind of like a record-breaking show. They actually had to manipulate / tweak this ship, because this ship was actually supposed to be for the Asian market. They decided to scratch that. No, we're bringing it to North America. And of course, like, there's different things that we like in North America versus the people over in Asia like. So they have to tweak certain things on board for that. So one of the things that you'll find out is like, there's a brand new restaurant concept called the Mason Jar, which was supposed to be a noodle bar because of the Asian market, but they changed it to the Mason Jar, which I've heard raving reviews about, and I cannot wait to try that out. But back to the Aqua Theater show, Intense. There is a 75-foot diving platform that an amazing team of Olympic divers, 14, it's an all-women cast of divers diving in this Aqua Class Theater show from the aft of the ship. It is just incredible. I know, like, that was one of my favorite shows. I didn't get to see Intense. I saw a different one, but that, like, the Aqua Theater shows are some of my favorite because it is in an outdoor venue, and you just marvel at the different things that these amazing performers can do while they are there. So, I mean, they got me at all women. It's an all-women show, Olympic divers, and they begin by diving off a 75-foot platform. All right, that's a show that I need to be seeing. There is also an ice show on board that is called 365. And what I thought was really neat about this ice show, and that's, I think, like, they were talking about all these amazing features in the shows, and I am a big shows person. So that is something that I kind of miss on river cruising, is that you do get entertainment on board while you're river cruising, but you don't get these like epic style shows like you do on these massive ocean ships. So, this ice show, they are actually incorporating the use of projectors. So, and I know, like, you've all probably have seen by now Disney World, or even like the Quarry show that I saw back in France last month on my river cruise, where they're using a lot of projection screens to put images on the backs of walls or flat surfaces or anything like that. Well, they are using the same technology to put images on the ice. So they were saying, like, sometimes it looks like the ice is like a koi pond as the skaters are skating by. So that was another show that I'm like, check that off. I must see that when I go. Another one of the shows is called Effectors. And Effectors first actually came out on the Odyssey of the Seas, which was supposed to debut last year, but we all know what happens. So it debuted, it was supposed to debut in 2020, but it debuted last year instead. And so at the end of that show, and I'm trying to, like, I want to leave some surprises, but there's some things that it's like, like you should really know about. So the effectors at the end of this show in the orchestra, because yes, they have orchestras on some of these ships. There are 50 drones that come up from the orchestra and just do this amazing, like perform this amazing show at the end of effectors. Well, I guess they have a different version of that that will also be happening on the Wonder of the Seas. Really excited to go ahead and see that. And then the last show that I kind of wanted to highlight because I thought that this was amazing was something called Tap Factory. And they said it's tap dancing / Blue Man Group type stuff. And I just like all these different, it's not like the same old boring, I want to say Broadway, but I love Broadway. So I can't even knock on that because I love Broadway shows. But it's not like old Vegas-y type shows. I think that is where I was kind of more going on it, because that's like, I remember seeing one of those actually on a Quantum class ship that I went on, and I was like, So I love the innovations that they're doing on these different shows at sea. Something really special. So this Wonder of the Seas is currently in the Mediterranean. When it comes back to the States, it will be coming back to the port of Canaveral, which is my home port closest to Orlando, Florida. And I am ecstatic about that. I'm ecstatic about having like the newest ship being here, because they usually stick to Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So I'm very happy that it is coming to Port Canaveral. Something that makes it even extra special is that we just found out that there are 3 different astronaut statues. So if you didn't know, the Cape Canaveral area is synonymous with the space hunt and the space travel. And so, when I was growing up here, like that would be the thing. Like whenever there was a space shuttle launch, like school would let us go outside and we'd just watch and yes, from Orlando, you could see like the little strip of the space shuttle going up in the air, which was so cool. Like awesome memories. But I thought that was a special touch that they're including on board, that they have different astronaut statues. Now I know where the astronaut statues are. I am not going to, Ruben, I'm not going to let you know where the statues are. You're going to have to find those on your own. And yay, that would be awesome, Ruben. April. Yes, because I think we're supposed to have it pretty long term in Port Canaveral. So we'll see. So that is the Wonder of the Seas and all the wondrous things about it and that are coming to it. A couple of the other things that I wanted to mention are some neat itineraries specifically to Port Canaveral, since that's my home port and that's the one I pay attention to most, even though if you're not sailing from Port Canaveral, you're probably sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, because Fort Lauderdale is another really big Royal Caribbean port from Florida. So the Mariner of the Seas, we've had that ship here for a little bit, and it usually does like the short 3 and 4 nights, but it looks like it is starting on some 8-night Bermuda sailings. And Bermuda is a new destination for cruises that are sailing out of Port Canaveral, because Port Canaveral will usually do Eastern, Western, Bahamas itineraries, but we have never gone to Bermuda. So I would be really excited to try something like that out also, because Bermuda sailings are usually like from New York, New Jersey, Maryland. So to be able to have that a little bit closer to home, and Bermuda, if you didn't know, is an island. It's a little bit closer to like mid-Atlantic, and it is known for turquoise beaches and pink sand. And it is just gorgeous. I was supposed to sail to Bermuda in 2020, and I feel like a broken record. We all know what happened to that. So maybe now that they have these itineraries on the Mariner of the Seas, that is something that we can try out. I am even more ecstatic about the Allure of the Seas. So the Allure of the Seas is coming to Port Canaveral, and this is an Oasis class ship from October of 2023 to April of 2024. And why I am excited about that is because it is doing 3- and 4-night Bahamas sailings. And why I'm excited about that is because for so long, we have had just small ships to do these 3 or 4 nights. And the smaller ships kind of make sense that they do the short 3 or 4 nights. But a lot of us who frequently do 3 or 4 night cruises to the Bahamas are kind of tired of these smaller ships. And we've been wanting a ship that offers a lot of different things on board. So to have an Oasis class ship that has spectacular meeting space on board, I am so excited, and I'm actually going to be reaching out to one of my corporate clients to let them know, because like that is where we need to have in January 2024. That is the ship that we need to utilize for their annual corporate retreat. So that is one of the reach outs that I have for a little bit later today. And that's what I want you to kind of like see and take away, that when I go to these types of events, I do think of clients and how certain itineraries would be beneficial for different people that I have top of mind. So, and I'm always looking for different and new opportunities, because like I'm mentioning now, things can be repeated frequently. So when something new comes around that's different and it's something that we've been craving, it is so exciting, especially for me. Especially for me in the position that I am in. Now those are kind of like the more domestic changes. The other big, not change, and it's not a big announcement either, because this was announced a little bit ago, was that Royal Caribbean for the first time ever is doing world cruises. And I think I'm going to have to go live or do another session on this a little bit later to kind of get into the nitty gritty of the world cruise. But so world cruises are cruises that literally sail around the world. So this one with it's a big deal for Royal Caribbean because it's usually a premium luxury offering. So to have something in the more mass market budget realm it just makes this type of cruising more accessible to more people, no matter what budget you may have. So this sailing is actually 274 nights. Yes. Practically almost a year. And I've been hearing so many people joking about how people are moving to cruise ships because it's cheaper to live on a cruise ship than owning a house or renting an apartment here in the States. And I mean, I can't really argue with that, because that would be a dream. And with Royal Caribbean, the Wi-Fi that they have on board is really amazing. I really haven't had any issues with it. So especially if you're a remote worker or if you own your own business, being away for 274 nights really isn't that big of a deal as you're exploring the world, but you're still able to be connected and do the work that you need to be doing. But the sailing starts December 10th on one of the smaller ships, the Serenade of the Seas. And they've selected a smaller ship and that's one of the big differences between larger and smaller ships, is that larger ships, while they are amazing and have spectacular things on board, their size hinders them from getting to many of these smaller and more intimate ports. So that's why the Serenade of the Seas was chosen for this type of journey. So actually, where is it starting? It's starting somewhere here in the Americas. I don't know exactly. So you can do the full 274 nights, or you can break it up into chunks. So I'll just go high level overview, and then I'll do another live either later this week or next week to kind of like dive in a little bit more. But the full 274 nights starts December 9th of 2023 and it ends September 10th of 2024. And so your first chunk, so if you didn't want to like do the 274 and you just wanted to be away for like maybe 2 months instead of like 9 months. So the first leg is going to be December 10th through February 11th, and that is Americas and Antarctica. I put ANT, and I'm not sure if Antarctica really is on there, but it's going to be like sailing the Americas. So I would say like starting Caribbean-ish and then onwards. Then February 11th through May 9th is the second chunk, and that is Asia and the Pacific. And then from May 9th to July 10th, we're heading over to the Middle East and then the Mediterranean. And then July 10th through September 10th is the capitals of culture. So even more of Europe. So it like literally you start off here somewhere, because I should know where it starts off, but I didn't like get all the details. I'm just so much in awe. So December 10th, starting somewhere in the US, going through a little bit of the Caribbeans, then heading over to Asia Pacific, so Australia and the different Asian areas over there, then heading over to the Middle East, a little bit of Africa, Mediterranean, and then doing some more of Europe, Northern Europe, Iceland, I feel like was on there also. So a really just an awesome itinerary. So with that, I will conclude today's session because I know I have gushed a lot. I hope I've gotten you excited about some of the changes and adjustments that are coming, and that are in full on the journey. They're in place right now. But I will conclude this. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, Rita@ritaventures.net. And I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, bye. Thanks for joining me on the Cruise Retreat podcast. Please subscribe and leave the show a rating so more team and community leaders like yourself can get access to these episodes. See you next week.